the thing.
Do we have to get any other things prepped? Are we?
I have a review, and then we can just start with his question, and then we'll move in from there.
Okay. All right. Let's start at the
minute.
Yeah. Okay. I got the thing over here on my other screen.
I got some funny stories. Not funny stories, but some interesting stories.
Interesting stories. Okay.
Potentially interesting, you know. Ooh. Whoa, is there a windstorm brewing?
It's a windy day out here. I'm just a mouth breather.
Oh, we're ridiculous.
Hi, Becca. We're live.
Hi. We're live. I don't know if my sound is going to be any good now. It looks all little. Because it's on automatic level control or some shit like that. I don't know. How are you?
Mine's good, I think. Now I'm concerned about my levels here. I'm great. I think I messed up my foot yesterday or something. It's been irritating me. I don't know what I did. It's like if I were to stand on my tippy toes or like bend it too far down to the floor, it like hurts the top of my foot.
The top.
Yeah. Like right next to my ankle on the top of my foot.
What kind of hurt is it? Is it like a sharp pain or is it like a dull ache?
It's kind of like a sharp pain. Like it's like if I push my foot down too much, it's like I like snap back and I'm like, oh, that hurts. It's like a twinge or something.
You probably just strained a muscle or like a little ligament thingy.
Yeah.
And
I was thinking of what I did, but I don't. There's one thing I had in mind that I was like, maybe this is what it was. So I was like, it started hurting this morning when I woke up, but I was like, yesterday or the last few days, I would like, my desk is at a certain height that if I kneel on the carpet, I sometimes put my leg back behind me and I had my foot stretched out.
Yep.
And it could have just been in that position too long and it like strained it or something.
You're not a young chicken anymore, Ryan.
I'm not a spring chicken.
Nope, not a spring chicken.
So, yeah, that's what's going on. I got some boxes of stuff. I'm trying to get some. I got a wholesale order that I'm delivering here this week with some shot glasses and bowls and stuff. And then I got a mug order, a few mugs that are going to a coffee shop on the street. And maybe delivering some other things back there that I've been waiting on payment for. So, by the way, folks, don't send something out until you get payment. I don't care how long it takes them. And they're like, oh, I didn't get it. Don't send anything out until they pay for it.
I mean, unless you've been.
Unless you like know them pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only sent one order before, but I'm not sending 50 shot glasses without taking payment for it.
Yeah, I will always, on my first order, I'll always accept payment first. And then on every order after that, I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. Net 30. Net 30.
Well, it's literally been past due for like 40 days.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
And they, there were some issues with like my account or something, or like their account, because I was only accepting payment for wholesale orders with your bank account information, so that Square didn't take a 3% of my 50% discounted pieces already.
Yeah, they should either send a check or do a bank transfer.
Yeah, so I basically was like, hey, I get your things having issues. I'd prefer a check, but if you can't do a check, then I'm going to let you do a credit card for this order, but any future orders, I'm going to add 3% on top of it if you want to use a card.
Yeah.
So you're paying for that fee,
Those motherfuckers.
So. Not motherfuckers. It's just like, communication falls off the map sometimes and you're just like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe they got something going on. I don't know. So I'm not going to push them too much, but it's like, I let them know like, hey, let me know if there's issues, but I'm going to wait until you contact me. Otherwise, this is the last communication until you let me know. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing else otherwise. trying to get some studio time in, get some stuff fired. But
Are we releasing this one tomorrow, or do we have another one to release?
we have another one.
Okay, cool. That
Is there timely information that you're gonna share?
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
I was gonna tell her because I was thinking about how sometimes you forget things and stuff, and I wanted to tell you a funny little story that happened with my pot swap partner, of whom I'm not gonna share who it is. It will all soon be revealed, but she okay, on November 18th, I got a message from somebody saying, "Hey, I'd love it if you could do a consultation with me. Like, I'm willing to pay, blah, blah, blah. I just would like to, improve on a few things, blah, 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 blah." And she great communication and like said all these, all the things she needed and everything. And then I completely dropped the ball and and I was like, yeah, let me think about it. Life's really busy, but let me think about it. And then I forgot. I just forgot about it. And
Well,
then,
yeah, I mean, you were the last communication in that chain. So she needed to reach out and be like, "Hey, by the way, have you thought about this?" But I mean, you're
well,
not
yeah,
going
I
to
don't know. I
remember
mean,
the DM.
I actually was not the last communication in that chain. She said the last thing. And so it
Oh.
was me. And so it was 100% my fault. And but I remembered it. I remembered it and then I forgot who it was because
Yeah, you
at
can't
this
search text that's inside of messages. You can only search people's
right,
names in messages.
the people's names. So I finally this morning, okay, I'm telling you this story to tell you this story. When I get my pot swap partner, in whenever we got them, I looked at it and then I closed the email and I looked at her profile and I was like, sweet, I can do this. And so I started making it and I didn't look at it after that. And so I forgot the name. And then, I found the name, when I mailed it out, and I mailed it out like 3 days ago. And then this morning, I'm looking through all of my messages in Instagram to find the person that asked me to do a consult with them. It's my fucking pot swap partner.
The person you're sending to.
The person I'm sending to asked me to help them. And I feel like a fucking terrible human being. But also, I mean, it's an understandable moment.
You should put a little card in there that says like free consultation with Becca for 1 hour or something.
What's frustrating is that I totally would have had I not sent my package out already.
Oh, well, you just got to procrastinate like me and just not send it yet. So.
I know, and in the package I put she's gonna listen to this, so she's gonna know how bad I feel. I feel terrible. In the package, I was like, "Oh, my name's Becca, blah 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 blah." Because I know that people know who I am, but also I like to make it sound like nobody knows who I am. So then I'm like, "I did this, blah 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 blah," and I send a nice letter and all the things. And I'm like, God damn it! There was such a good opportunity there, and I fucked it up. So
now you just got to follow it up. Maybe you should send her a handwritten card to follow it up. Put it through mail. I mean, she's going to hear this, so.
Anyway, sorry, Christy.
I got my pot swap too from the person sending to me. It was awesome.
I got mine too today.
And she wrote a very thoughtful note, mentioned the podcast, and learned a lot about. I wish I had it handy. I don't know if she wanted me to read it because she was like, "I'm glad you didn't read that in public because I'm kind of dyslexic," or I don't know. She said she's actually dyslexic or whatever. But I was like, "Well, it was good. It was enjoyable. I liked it." So.
Yeah,
I won't put her on the spot, but it was very thoughtful, Jenny. Thank you. Ceramics by Jenny.
Oh, I got one. I got mine, and it's from Fledgling Studios. Is it Fledgling? Fledgling. It's Fledgling.
Fledgling.
Yeah, Fledgling.
Where's Fledgling Studios out of?
She's out of Canada, but the package came from New York. So I wonder if she's right on the line. So she just went over into New York and mailed it out.
Or she shipped it, and that's the receiving center in New York, and then it goes from there to you.
No, the return address was in New York.
Oh, that's weird. Okay.
So it was Niagara Falls in New York. So I mean, it's right on the fucking. So, anyway, she's from Canada, and she sent me a beautiful note as well. It's super thoughtful, and the cup's great. It says, I can't remember what the goose said. It's 2 geese, and it has like the other one says, fuck you, yeah. What is it? Fuck you,
yeah. Yeah.
No, I took a picture. Hold on. It says, it says, hoser, fuck you, eh? It's great. I love it.
That's funny.
It's funny. So
yeah, mine has ice cream cones all over it. It's a mug that has ice cream
oh,
cones.
yours was so cute.
And then I got the little I'm using it as for next to my tea or next to my Keurig for the teaspoon and stuff. It's got donuts on it.
That's adorable. Yeah, she gave me a little Christmas tree ornament too.
Yeah.
So
a bunch
cute.
Of Canadian treats. Yeah, mine was Ceramics by Ginny is in British Columbia. So which I don't exactly know where that's at in Canada, but I know it's up there. It's probably
BC.
Pretty cold there.
Vancouver's in BC.
Okay. So it's a Western territory? Is that right? Territory?
Wait, I don't want to be wrong.
Oh, God. Put on the spot, Becca.
Shit.
Oh, no.
Yes, I was right. I'm right. Okay. Yeah, it's in British Columbia. Yeah, so it's the western southern part of Canada.
All right. I'm sure it's nice there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I still have to send mine out. I got to figure out what I'm sending. I feel so bad. But the deadline's not till the 8th, so today's the 2nd. I'll get it out.
You should not have said that.
What? I got to send it out. It's not saying I'm kind of procrastinating, but I want to put... I'm trying to think... The letter is a little bit holding me up, too, because I'm like, what do I say in this thing? But we'll see.
Yeah, I wrote a letter. I sent a lot, but I always send a lot.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to send 2 or 3 things, but...
Yeah, I sent a fancy cup, a shitty cup, and pinch pots.
Ooh. So. Yeah. You can't send, like, alcohol in the mail, can you?
No, Bear tried to do that. I told him he can't do it.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
He was sending to Europe. And he's like, I want to send him some bourbon from Kentucky. And
you can't. Yeah, I don't think that's legally.
And I was like, Bear, you cannot send bourbon through customs. Like, that's like that's like the absolute no.
That's like trying to send plants. You can't send plants.
Yeah. Ugh. Oh, anyway, okay. I was gonna say how my day was because this is kind of exciting as we've totally got off track. One of those days. Sorry. So, yesterday, okay, I'm the lead production potter by default at work because I have the most experience. Other than Ryan has more experience, but he's an introvert, and so am I. But he's like an ultra introvert, and
the lead.
I'm faster. Anyway, so, and I have teaching experience. But anyway, moving on. But I've been doing mostly small things, and I got upgraded to large things pretty significantly fast this week. So I've been doing a few larger things, but I did these vases that look like decanters, and they are a pain in the fucking ass. And I did 20 of them yesterday, and they're like 4 pounds. And you've never experienced this from me, but when I learn something new, I bitch and complain for like 25 minutes at the very beginning of it, and then I'm fine. Like after that,
like you're just talking to yourself and you're like, fuck. Or you're like, ah.
Like if I'm not near Rebecca, I'll text her and be like, I fucking hate this. This is the worst ever. Like these pictures are so terrible. Fuck this. And I'll be like, fuck this person. I hate this so much. I can't do this. And I like complain. And then like after like 10, I'll text her and be like, disregard. I figured it out.
So when you're starting something brand new, does she have a throne version right there?
Like she has
like a wet version,
no, she has a finished version.
finish one. Okay.
And then I
She gives
copy
you
it.
dimensions and stuff.
Yeah.
Wet dimensions. Okay.
Yeah, or I have to convert it. But yeah, and so like that happened with the vases yesterday. I was like, fuck, and I flopped like 5 of them. I was like, I hate these so much. But then I finally got them. But then she gave me the everything bowls for the client that we do, our main client, and they're like 10 and an eighth wide and 5 and a quarter high or whatever. Or maybe the opposite, I don't know. The decimals, not the inches. And I threw in the last 2 days. I threw 64 of them. 63.
Damn.
63.
4.5 pounds.
4.5 pounds.
Jeez, that's a workout.
Yeah, I threw 19 yesterday and 44 today. Yeah, and I was just like doing it, and I was like, fuck, Dusty must be fucking ripped. Like, like secretly so strong, you know, like he was the main big thrower before he left, you
Yeah.
know, but
The small stuff's about finesse. The bigger stuff takes some.
is about fucking power. And like,
Mhm.
I'm strong, you know, I'm fucking strong, but like he throws those motherfuckers so fast and so seamlessly and easily. And like, I just like, man, I would not want to be on the other side of an arm wrestle of that guy. Like, not at all.
Do you ever have you ever like held out your arms and like compared your arms? Because my like right forearm and my right bicep is much bigger than my left because of throwing. Like just imagine like you're coning up and coning down, like you can flex your forearm and it's like so much stronger than my left forearm.
My right one is. Yeah, my right one is a little bit more defined
Yeah.
than my left one, but I use a lot of strength in my left arm actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and what's funny is that we were talking about it today. You know, a lot of people use their whole body to move into. Andrew, this is for you. They use their whole body to like move into the clay, and I don't actually. I fucking use all my arms to like move the clay up and down. Like I use my arms and then I like squeeze my legs against the table, and that's how I like get the strength to do it. But
I mean, I can imagine the centering. You're not using your arms and stuff. Centering power. You are.
yeah, a
Or
lot
for
of people
the
lean into their
poles more.
pots. A lot of
Yeah.
people lean into their pots. I don't. I squeeze up and down.
For the coning and stuff.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did
my
you
back is
wake up more
straight the whole.
sore today because of yesterday?
Oh, no, I've been doing pretty good. I've been doing like a detox, and I only threw 40 things yesterday. It was just mentally really draining. Like I called Ryan and was like, I can't do the podcast tonight. It was just really mentally draining, like learning 2 new shapes and like having to focus every single piece like really intently, you know?
Right.
So, but I wasn't super sore. I was just really fucking tired. So,
Yeah.
but
I
I
feel like I'll
did,
have soreness sometimes on like usually in my legs or something if I'm standing in a certain
yeah,
way
because
for
you
a long
stand.
time.
Yeah.
But not. I mean, I might have a little bit of arm soreness from if I'm centering a lot of stuff, but if it's
Yeah.
smaller
My
stuff, like I
shoulder
don't.
kind of gets sore. But what's funny is that last night I woke up and I was like on my side and I woke up with my arm in the air. like, like,
That's
like,
weird.
my arm was like in the air and I was like moving my wrist around to like, you know, like, well, it pops all the way
Yeah.
around. But
Yeah.
I was like moving my wrist around and I was like, what the fuck? Like, just wake up with your arm in the
I want
air.
to like be ambidextrous when I'm like throwing. So it's like, okay, now I need to work out my left arm some more. So
Yeah.
I center with my left. Flip that thing in reverse and yeah. Sweet. Yeah, that's probably pretty draining, right? I mean, that's that's a way to refine your skills. Is there a reason that Rebecca kind of gave those to you just because you're probably the most capable of doing those?
No, Ryan's the most capable, I would say, of doing them consistently. Well, but I'm the fastest. And Merritt and Sarah are not strong enough right now.
Yeah, probably making the big bucks on those then, huh? It's gonna be a big buck week. No,
because it was a
you
lot
made
of small.
fewer.
It was a lot of small shit in the beginning of the week, and it was a total surprise. Like I wasn't supposed to do all of those. I was supposed to do small shit all the way through the rest of the week, and then we got jumped with all this extra shit. And she was like, "I need you to do 60 of these." And I was like, "Okay." So
All right.
I learned the shape yesterday and did all of them today. But I mean, like, it's just a fucking mixing bowl. It's not like it's not rocket science. Like, you know.
That pitcher would have been, or the decanter thing. I saw you throwing that, and I was like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah. It's a vase, but yeah, those, if I had to throw 60 of those, I would have walked out. I would have been like,
That's kind of
no.
like, isn't that kind of like the shape that like Florian makes? It not exactly, but it's kind of got that idea where it like has a waist that's like kind of wide and then it has sharp angles.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bitch. Like I finally figured it out, but there was 2 of them I had to flip upside down and hang them for a while. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, Rebecca, I'm never throwing these again. And she's like, hopefully we don't have to.
How many of it? Yeah. How many of those does she? So she just kind of makes them as samples, and she's like, "This is what can be produced. Is this what you like?"
Yeah.
And then you're like, "All right,
And
I can make 60 of these."
Dusty did them and he did them well. And then she expired the shape, and then one customer wanted 20 of them or 15 of them. So we made it for one person, and then we won't ever have to make them again. So
That you know of.
no, we won't.
We won't. We're done with this shape. Done.
We're done.
All right.
Should we do a review?
Yeah. You got one on deck?
Yes. Oh, also, for anybody listening, did we already say anybody listening to the last couple podcasts and we were like, who's Darth Ned? It is my coworker, Nick.
Ooh.
He was the one that gave us a review. And I texted him. I was like, "Is this you, Nick?" Because his real name's Ned.
Did you ask him if he listens to it while you're at work?
No. That's weird.
You're like, who do you like better, Ned?
Okay. This is a 5-star review from Purple AMJ on May 1st, 2021, my birthday. Honest, real life pottery advice. I really like Wheel Talk podcast. I'm restarting as a ceramic artist endeavor. Becca and Ryan chat about all ins and outs of having pottery business. They go over everything of their mistakes and why they learned how they make ceramics and how they live. It feels like I'm eavesdropping and learning so much. I also really enjoy how many questions they answer from people listening. Sometimes they go in the weeds about topics, but I always learn something. Please keep making more podcasts. Did I read that last week?
I don't think so. We delete them as you read them, so
I
we
know,
don't do
but
that. So I just deleted it.
I'm deleting it, so don't delete it.
I already did.
Fuck. Okay, I think
Why
we're
does
good.
it matter?
Because if I kept deleting it, then I would delete the next one.
Oh no. That's why you just highlight and then you delete. All right.
Some of us have phones, not computers.
Thank you for that. And I've seen all these people tagging like the Spotify Wrapped thing. Do you get the Spotify Wrapped? You did because you shared stuff. I'm guessing that's a premium feature only, right?
Probably.
Okay.
It's like, yeah, it's whatever you listen to. It's on your homepage. Whatever you listen to this whole year.
Yeah, mine is not.
I listened to 60,000 minutes of music this year.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't listen to anything on Spotify except JRE. So
yeah.
Probably like JRE, JRE, JRE. Okay. Yeah, thanks for everybody tagging us. You see we're on lists for like top podcast listens and all that stuff. So thanks for listening. Some people I think one person was like 10,000 minutes or something.
Wow. I have listened to 43.75 hours. Days. Of
Is that your
music.
like running time,
Yeah.
lifetime of Spotify?
No, that's this year.
43 days
This year.
this year. Oh my gosh. Do you just
Well,
leave it on while you're sleeping or what?
No, I listen to it when I work.
Okay. I guess that adds up about 8 hours at a time, right?
Yeah. 6.
Okay.
But yeah.
Nice.
Okay. What are we talking about today? We're talking about a question that leads into a topic. So it's a
Yes.
listener question, and Ryan's gonna play you a voice audio recording from Andrew Linderman.
Andrew Linderman. Let's hear what you got, Andrew.
Ryan, there's really only one question that needs to be answered. What the fuck do I do with all of this shit? Like, there's just so much of it, and all of it needs to get moved. What do I do with it all?
All right. So if you didn't know, thanks for that, Andrew. Andrew is moving, and the video version of that, he's showing me his studio that is filled with shit.
Not literal shit, pottery shit.
Yeah, there's just piles of stuff. And I recently went through a home move, so we're probably in a similar-ish situation. Becca, you moved studios probably multiple times over your lifetime.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you had your huge studio you had to move out of and whatnot. So, yeah. And then he followed up with some questions. So, yeah, he says, but seriously, moving and buying a house, what should I look for in my new house for a studio? How much space do I need? What makes a good studio location? What should I avoid?
Yeah.
Best way to move heavy studio equipment? How do I pack and ship my kiln safely? Do I need to do anything special with glaze chemicals? Maybe we start there.
This is great. Yeah. Did you have that in a note?
Yep, it's in the note.
Did
It's
you
called, it says moving studios in the listener question section.
Okay.
You see it?
Yep.
All right.
Nope.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
All right. You see it.
Cool. Wow. I think we should start for what to look for when buying a house for a studio, because we've both bought a house and put a studio in that house.
Yeah. Would you say this applies to renting too?
To what?
To renting? If
Yeah.
you're renting a house?
Yeah. Like Chris Birch rents, and he has a studio in his house. I mean, obviously, if you're renting an apartment, that can be questionable. But I could have a studio in my apartment. It just wouldn't have a kiln. You know?
Right.
So
yeah. So what are you kind of thinking about? You're thinking about. I'm mostly thinking square footage. Like, first off, like, what do you currently have for square footage of your studio? What do you need? What's your essentials? And like, you got to think a little bit long term of like, am I going to need more space over time?
Yeah.
Am I going to need like the same amount of space? Do I plan to grow this, or is this going to stay a hobby and I don't need as much space? Or
right, like,
am I going to start mixing my own glazes? Do I need more storage that way?
Right. Is there opportunity for growth outside of the initial building, like a shed or a flat piece of land that you could put something on,
Yeah. Or do you need a dedicated space that is your studio and only your studio?
Right.
Or are you fine with sharing it? Like, for me, it didn't have to be, it had to be a dedicated space that was, how big is that room? My old studio was probably 20 by 20, maybe.
Yeah.
Which is what,
that
400
room's
square
not
feet?
very big. Yeah. That room's like 12 by 12, but then he has another room that he has the kilns in that's probably 20 by 10.
Yeah. Yeah, so my old studio was about 400 square feet. My current working space with the studio and the kiln area and storage for ceramics only stuff is probably about the same amount of space, maybe a little bit less, but kind of close.
You know, it's just a little more awkward of a space. I don't think it's less.
Yeah, it's just broken up.
Yeah. But it's kind of nice though, because it's like you can work in one space, you know, you don't have to like.
It's partitioned off, so it's, all the glazing and kiln things, like nothing green where it goes into that space.
Right, that's
until
nice.
It's going into the kiln.
Yeah.
Um,
what I look for also is the flooring. What type of flooring you're going to be dealing with, because if you already have cement or it's a cement subfloor, like you had carpet but you knew there's cement under it, that's nice. I wouldn't want a wood floor.
Yeah.
Like in an old house, a wood floor with like ridges and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. You'd probably want to, in that situation, you probably want to put linoleum down, I would think.
Yeah, you want something smooth for sure.
Yeah, you don't want to be spilling glazed stuff on the floor and getting clay on the floor, and the dust is going to be crazy. Clean up, and you can't. I mean, mopping floors is iffy because you don't want to add moisture to the wood too much.
Yeah. That's a lot.
I think Tara and Matt at Pitch Pine, they had she had like a wood floor studio back at their old house, and not in Santa Fe, but in back when they lived in that smaller house back in Massachusetts.
We had wood at the big studio, and it was horrible.
Was it nicer wood though?
Yeah, because the studio used to be a wood floor store, so it had like all the different types of wood, and then in the back there was cork. That was the worst. And of course,
how the hell do you clean cork?
They do. You don't.
It's not sealed, right?
Sometimes they seal it, but no, it's not. And you don't. You don't clean it. It's fucking terrible. And that's where the glazing area was towards the end. And then the back was cement. But then in my studio, it wasn't even fucking flooring. It was just like subfloor glue.
Yeah.
And it was terrible.
Yeah, so definitely the flooring is a good factor. We had the carpet, we stripped it up. We knew, you don't want to be working on carpet if you I don't know. I mean, if you're renting, maybe you don't have the option to rip up the carpet, but you probably want to put something down that's like linoleum,
for sure.
or something on top of it, even if it's like temporary. You just put linoleum down, because if you ruin the carpet,
you're fucked.
Yeah, and you're getting dust all in it. You can't clean carpet.
That's silicosis just waiting.
Yeah.
It's just waiting.
What about it depends on where you live, I guess, whether you're in like, if your area has crawl spaces or like basements that are decent size height ceilings. Was yours in like a crawl space at the old house, or was it like a basement?
No, mine was a cellar.
Cellar. That's what I was thinking. Not crawl
mine
space.
Was a cellar, and like the reason I bought this house was because of the basement, because I knew that it would be my studio, which
was it a wet cellar?
Yeah.
It was wet.
Yeah, it was fucking terrible. It was great and terrible all at the same time, because the humidity was the same all year long. The temperature was pretty much the same all year long. And but it had a sump pump in it, which was nice. So I had a dehumidifier with a hose that went into the sump pump and just pumped it out every once in a while. And but like the pots would dry really slowly, which was nice and sucky all at the same time. And but the ceilings were a normal height in the main area. It was probably 10 by 12.
The whole studio or the whole cellar?
Yeah. Well, there was like a hallway into it, and that had pipes going through it. So I could walk under it without ducking, but I had 2 inches to spare. So like somebody that was higher than 5'4" had to duck. And the stairs down were like real sketchy. And they had a railing, but I had to take the railing out so that I could get pots up and down easily without killing myself.
That's definitely a factor.
Yeah, like that's a like Andrew Linderman has a basement studio right now, and he takes pots up and down just like I used to. And you just huck them on your shoulder and take them up and down, on boards. You get real used to it, but it's a factor, because like in the end, I had my glazing studio on the front porch, so I would have to go all the way through the house with all the pots. But yeah, so basements are nice because of that humidity. It's just standard, but they can be a bitch. Like one time, a rat died, and I had a fly infestation, and was
your floor level down there?
Yeah, it was cement. It wasn't sealed at first, so I had to seal it because it was leaking pretty bad.
Yeah, it wasn't
It
waterproof
flooded
or
down there
whatever.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah, flooded down there once. That was fun.
Yeah, we had to waterproof our old house. It was not doable. Like we would have an inch of water if it was a heavy rain in the studio.
Yeah.
So like we had to waterproof that quick.
Yeah. Yeah, so you want to like kind of think about those type of things, and I did it the cheap way. Like I just used deck and dock and put it up the walls.
Yeah,
but
we paid like 10 grand to get waterproofing done, and getting the tile and the piping, and they dug up a foot away from the wall and put all that in the wall and sump pump, and yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, and like I really like basement studios. Like it was great for me, and it was probably maybe 150 square feet total. But it worked really well. That size was fine. But I didn't glaze in there towards the end, like I said.
Yeah,
My glazing.
You wouldn't want to be moving glazed pots up and down the stairs, right?
No. Move bisque pots, and then
like you'd move greenware out, and then you would not bring pots back in that were finished, basically.
So I had a small kiln down there, and I
did?
would bisque down there. And then after they bisque, I went up, put the bisque pieces in the shed that I built, a 10 by 10 shed. And then once I needed those, I would take those bisque pieces to the front porch and then glaze them there. And the front porch was probably 6 by 20, 6 by 15.
You sealed it off, didn't you? You like hacked together a seal.
I sealed it off with OSB on the bottom, 4-foot wall OSB on the bottom, and not clear but like frosty white Visqueen.
Oh my god, it looked like a druggy house or something.
Yeah, it did. And it wasn't even covered all the way because I couldn't cover the kiln area, so that part was open. And
oh my god.
And what's even better is that the way that I got the Visqueen up on the top of the ceiling is that I used fucking paint mixing sticks and stapled them to the ceiling.
Oh my god!
I put the paint mixing sticks between the Visqueen, like where it folded, and stapled and nailed them to the ceiling. It was the most ghetto ass redneck motherfucking porch. And I told my neighbors, I'm like, you better feel lucky. I'm your insurance. Nobody's gonna come down this street.
We're just dropping our property values. Don't try to sell while it still looks like this, but
yeah. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, so like keep that in mind. Like I outgrew my space, but it was manageable as somebody who only lived there by themselves.
I think the making sure that it's insulated enough to where it's not going to leak and there's not going to be water everywhere. That's a big factor, especially if you're like storing boxes of clay down there. You don't want your cardboard boxes like getting soaked, or your glazed material bags and stuff getting soaked. Like you need to think about that. Because we had leakage, and then cement boxes got wet, and if you're transport, I think the steps is a huge factor. I'm realizing now that I have to transport things. At least we have a walkout, so I can roll stuff down the side of the house, the clay, and then walk it in to the walkout door and into my studio. So I'm only walking at like 20 feet, but I don't want to have to walk 50-pound boxes of clay, 10 of those or 20 of those into my studio in the basement down a narrow stairwell into a cellar or something. Like that would be terrible. Did you have to do that? I'm guessing you did.
Yeah.
Did you store it?
Well,
Did you store it outside in the fridge?
Yeah.
In the old fridge that doesn't work, that was in your backyard?
Yeah, I stored it in the fridge that I got from my friend's mom that didn't work, that I put in the, to make my house even less valuable, that I put in the driveway and then stacked clay boxes inside because it was insulated. Yep.
Because they wouldn't freeze, and they might have froze during the. Yeah, I think the how important do you think the comfortability is? Because a lot of people can't probably do a lot of work in the winter if it's like completely not enjoyable. Like if you're in a garage that's not insulated and it's 40 degrees in there during the winter, like.
Yeah, that is definitely per your own, like.
Location.
Not per your own location, but per your own personality. Like I could work in 45-degree wet, like cold, you know. It was fine
just have
for
a
me.
space heater by you and warm water in your behind you.
Yeah.
With warm water to throw with and.
Yeah, like I'm completely comfortable in a mediocre space. But not a lot of people are. So I think that's you have to decide for yourself what is doable. Now, lights are really big. Like when I got to my studio, there was one pole light switch.
Like a chain with one bulb?
Yeah, the chain with one bulb.
Oh, that's terrible.
And I'm lucky that I had a friend who was an electrician and he found some balusters at a job site and installed them for me. But are they called balusters?
They're called ballasts. I mean, you could just call it you talking about the 4-foot fluorescent.
Yeah.
The ballast I think is technically the mechanism inside it that powers.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what you call I think you just call it a fixture. Fixture.
Yeah, so like I have that. And keep in mind, like if you have a basement studio or if you have a studio with a small entrance, you need to keep in mind if you can get a fucking kiln in there, in either in pieces or all at once. If you can get a shelf in there, like I had to build my shelf in the studio down in the basement. You know, like those are important things to factor. Like if you're not handy and you can't build a shelf, you're kind of up shit creek. But thankfully IKEA lives long. But yeah, so keep that in mind. But yeah, like my baby kilns, those are the only ones that would fit down there.
Yeah. Do you think most people could make do with a 10 by 10, like 100 square foot space if they had to?
Yeah.
Is that kind of the minimum amount of space you would need?
Yeah, that's easy.
Some 200 people work with way less. I mean, just think of it. The shelving is going to be vertical, so
yeah.
I think Lindy might have even smaller of a space, right? She's got vertical shelving and a wheel and a tabletop probably, and that's mostly it, right?
And it's fucking packed in there. She's got like all of her glazing stuff, all of her throwing stuff, all of her computer stuff. Like she's got everything in there. And it's probably like a 10 by 10 by 10 room. 10 by 10 by 10 by 10. 10 by 10.
I think it's smaller than that.
It looks smaller.
She needs to do like a reel that's like, here is my wedging table. Here is my wear cart. Here is my glazing table.
And it's all the same thing.
Oh. Yeah. I went to Chris Long's studio in Austin. I think you were there with Rachel, right? You and I and Rachel? No, not in Austin.
Mm-mm.
No, you didn't go with us. Somebody else went with us to Austin, or it was her parents, I think. And I went to the studio, and he has like a shed, but it's pretty small. It's like 6 foot wide by maybe 10 foot.
Yeah. Honestly, a 10 by 10 by 10. Fucking A, why do I keep saying 10 by 10 by 10? A 10 by 10. I mean,
10 foot high ceilings would be pretty nice, but.
Yeah, a 10 by 10 shed is actually pretty big. You can get a metal one for pretty cheap, but it's not insulated or anything like that, you know. What's our next? Like, okay, so that's.
What's a great studio location?
A great studio location is, I think, a separate garage on the property. Okay. That's like ideal. a separate insulated garage.
That's good. Yeah, because that's going to be well big enough for growth, and you could most likely use it for. It depends on if you're using it for a car too, but yeah, some people have those garage. I think another Seattle artist, she's building a shed, but I think she does it in her garage right now. I think
she's in Portland.
Portland. Well, that's her name, another Seattle artist.
I know, but yeah, she's in Portland. I don't know if she's
building a space, but I think there's a number of people that have garage kind of things that work. I mean, you could get a lot of stuff done in a garage.
You know, Liz Cohen Ceramics, they like built a shed that's probably like 10 by 15, and it's a pretty good space. It's pretty tall, so she has a lot of storage up at the top. It's nice though. It's got AC and it's got heat and like, you know, it's got a door that doesn't slide. It's like an actual door, you know.
Yeah, I think Melanie from Swell Ceramics used to do it in her garage.
Yeah,
she had her kilns and stuff in there, and she was cranking shit out.
CMC Ceramics does it in a garage. Is it CMC? CME? The one with the drippy, colorful ones.
I'm not sure.
Look at us.
But yeah, I think that's a great space. Ideally, you'd probably want water.
Not necessary, though. I lived for 3 years without water in the studio.
Yeah. I don't have water access here, so I have to like figure that out. I've kind of got 5-gallon buckets with water that I'm using for various things. You should put a hose
through the window.
I don't know. Well, it's also getting colder. I mean, that's going to be, it could freeze and stuff. I don't know that I want hose water because you'd have to leave it on all the time.
Yeah.
Or hook a hose up to an actual spigot that's in the house.
Or have a barrel outside with a hose.
It's still going to freeze, though, if it's outside. I mean, it will freeze unless I insulate it somehow.
The little blinky.
And then what? I have it coming through the window?
Yeah, have it coming through the window into a little heater thing, and then have it drop from the heater thing.
That sounds like too much. I do have water access, but it's like tucked away in the corner by my kiln, and it's not enough space to put a thing there, and I don't want the water right next to my kiln right there. So, yeah. Okay. We talked about the house and stuff. What about the best way to move the heavy studio equipment safely?
Friends.
Yeah, I mean,
men.
I think, we actually got it moved pretty decently. The thing is with kilns that are in sections, like you can just split that shit up and load it in the back of an SUV or car. I mean, multiple trips, but it depends on how far you're going. Like I think Andrew said they're actually going to put a lot of their stuff in storage, like in a pod or a couple pods. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna load it top down to the bottom, and then when you unload it, you're gonna unload bottom to the top. So you're gonna basically reconstruct it as you unload it. So, figure out where you can put it. But how did you pack them? I mean, I just packed mine in the back of the car, like they didn't move. It was pretty tight. Stuff wasn't moving around because they're so heavy.
I'm always a huge fan of never. If you don't have to take it apart, don't. That's like my number one rule with kilns. If you don't have to take it apart, don't. If it fits through the door, I like to take it all in one piece, put it on a fucking trailer, and ride that shit.
How do you lift it and stuff? Do you just have two people that can pick up the whole thing from the base?
2 or 3, yeah.
Put it on a rolling cart or something.
Yeah, and a rolling cart, obviously. But yeah, like we moved them all in one piece, and then when I got my brand new kiln, we moved that motherfucker on a trailer too. Like I did not want to take it apart, especially these cone art kilns. They're so
Some of them are
together.
hard to, yeah. The
Yeah.
L&L has a spine down the back with screws into everything that's
Yeah.
connected to one metal piece with the
Yeah.
kiln lift assist. So it's not something you could just take the lid apart from the thing. And yeah,
Yeah. It takes a lot of effort to get all of it like.
Some
it's
kilns are
kind of-
constructed easier than that. Like the Olympic was pretty easy because you literally just unplug things
Yeah.
and then just separate it.
Yeah, the Olympics great. Like moving Olympics, easy peasy. Moving a Duncan, easy peasy. Moving Scott, pretty fucking easy.
The L&L,
like
I did have to disconnect all the elements. So you have to like open the box and disconnect the element wire to the thing,
yeah,
to the
that makes sense.
controller. So the whole box is, because the whole
Yeah.
box goes top to bottom.
With Scott, the whole box comes off, and you just disconnect them. But it's very easy to move them back. When I moved out here from Washington, I didn't actually bring any kilns. Mistake.
You would have brought that
But
baby
I
kiln,
also
wouldn't you?
I was just thinking about that, like in my brain. I was like, maybe I don't think the person that bought the baby kiln is actually using the baby kiln. Maybe I could just like buy it back from them for the amount that they bought it from me for, and I could just like drive to Washington and
Be
get
like,
it.
do you want to get a kiln out of your life?
I'm like, can I have my kiln back? I sold it to him for so cheap too because his wife helped me so much with everything, and it was for her. I hope she did actually end up making it an actual studio. Anyway, yeah, but yeah, I'm always, if you can move it in one piece, do it.
Those
So,
smaller kilns, you can for the most. I mean,
yeah.
would you say don't put it on its side though? I would suggest
No,
don't put it on its side to fit it
I
somewhere.
have because I didn't have any space, but no, don't put it on its side.
It was funny. I had to put. I think when we were loading the L&L, we had it go on its side when we fit it through a door because it was too wide, and the elements fell out of the channel because they're not like attached to anything, right? They're just like kind
Yeah.
of sitting in the channels. So I was like, oh no, oh they're falling, oh. So I had to like put them all back in, but luckily they
Yeah,
weren't
don't
like
move it on
so
its side.
far gone.
Yeah. Oh God.
Just
Oh,
because
I remember.
it's gonna compress the
The brick.
bricks, and the bricks are going to become fragile. I would say if you're going to have any issues transporting stuff, you're probably going to degrade the bricks.
Yeah.
is the
And
main
don't do
thing.
it by yourself. Like, find some friends, give them some beer and pizza. Like, don't do it by yourself. If you are moving a bunch of big stuff. Now, I will say this. The first time you move a studio, you get rid of a lot of shit. The second time you move a studio, you get rid of a lot more shit.
What kind of shit were you getting rid of
Oh my
in your
God.
first studio?
This makes me sound like a hardcore hoarder, and I'm not. I'm like 150% not. The first time that I had kilns and stuff, I was like,
Because you didn't have a lot of space, so I mean,
I didn't have a lot of
theoretically,
space.
you didn't have a ton of stuff that's
I just had a
excess.
lot of clay, and this lady I think named Star. I think her name was Star. Anyway, she came and picked up all the clay. I wasn't even there, but I had a bunch of clay in buckets and stuff. But just like I've just
Like
learned.
reclaim.
Yeah. I've just learned not to keep shit anymore. You know, like Are you eating Tootsie Rolls? Who buys a whole bag of Tootsie Rolls?
Tootsie Fruit Chews.
Oh, they're the fruit ones. Okay. I was like,
Not
that's
Tootsie Rolls.
disgusting.
You know which ones are left? Can you guess which colors are left in here?
Tell me the colors. Oh, the lemon?
No, like what's the overwhelming color that's left in here that
The
you
yellow
think I'm
with the
not gonna eat?
brown.
False.
Wait. Show me the colors on the front of the bag. I can't see them.
Green, orange, yellow, pink, blue, and red or pink. Maybe I said pink twice.
Blue.
Yes, blue. I don't like blue.
Because blue's vanilla, right?
Yeah, no bueno.
That's my favorite one. Could
It
you
doesn't
mail me
really
those?
go with these.
I like the
you
vanilla
can get them
one.
next time. You got to come see me to eat them.
Okay. Anyway, thankful for that short commercial break for Tootsie Roll fruits. Yeah.
Tootsie Fruit Chews.
I used to collect kilns. Like whenever somebody was like, "Hey, I have this kiln. Do you want it?" I'd be like, "Oh, sure." Not anymore. I have a one kiln
Say no
limit.
thanks, I'm good.
No thanks, I'm good. Yeah, you just get rid of a lot of shit, and then you realize that you don't even use that much shit. Like the amount of tools that I actually use is like 10. I use like 10 tools, and like I went from a 3,000 square foot space to sharing a 1,000 square foot space with 4 people. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, you just get rid of all the things that you don't need. I saved all of the cutting items, like all of my circle cutters, and you know, a good table is always good to save. Shelving's always good to save. I wish I would have saved those rolling carts. Like, oh my God, I'm so mad I sold those rolling carts.
What kind of rolling carts were they? Metal?
Yeah, they were
They had like the slats in them.
yeah. Yeah, and
Would you
like
use those for like rolling glazed pots to the kilns?
yeah.
Okay.
And I put vinyl flooring on it, and that fit right in there.
Oh.
But like everybody's like, why did you give all this stuff away? I thought that I was moving in a much smaller trailer than what I was when I actually did. I could have fit a lot more shit.
Yeah. How many times do people regret giving or selling things when they're downsizing?
Yeah, like really think about the things that you're selling if you are downsizing, moving studios. Because I mean, like if you're just moving from house to house, it's pretty easy. But if you're moving like out of state or to like, you know, to another state and there's a significant move, really consider what you could buy again and what you have. Like I kept my slab roller, great investment. I'm never going to sell it. I kept my wheel, obviously. I should have kept my baby kiln because that would have given me all 3 major appliances that I needed.
Because you didn't come with the kiln, right? So you still required, you had to buy a kiln to
I
get
was
you up and
going to
running.
I was gonna keep the baby kiln, and then I decided not to keep the baby kiln. And because Dusty said he had a kiln or something. I don't fucking know. But yeah, so just like really, I would say like before you move, really write down what you're actually using in your studio so that you, when you're in the midst of all the chaos and all the shit that you have to get rid of, you're like, okay, this is what I need, you know?
Yeah. What if you have a shitty kiln? Like, should you move that with you? I feel like at the bare minimum, you have to have something functional to keep you moving
Yeah.
if you're able to get into a studio. Because you want to, you don't, especially these days where kilns are harder to come by and they're back ordered and all that stuff. I don't know if that's still the case right now, but it's been
No,
the
it is.
case that it's like, it's very questionable. So if you have a kiln that's working and you know how it works and you know how it fires, it may
Yeah,
not
keep
be
it.
easy to be like, you know what, I'm going to get rid of this kiln because I want to upgrade to a new one. Because then you get there and you order a kiln and it's like, okay, it'll be here in 9 months. What are you going to do for 9 months?
Right, exactly, which is exactly what happened. That's why the kiln's name is Juno, because it was late and it took 9 months to get there.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, that's something to really consider. But for lifting heavy things, I always say, you know, ask friends if you have man friends or strong women friends or capable hands. The more the better and the faster if you can do it all. Because like when we moved my home studio to the regular studio, me and John and like one other guy did it in like 2 to 3
Trips?
loads in the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
And
did
the
in the van too.
yeah, and I had all my, he mentions glaze chemicals as well. Do anything special with
Yeah.
those?
No.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't transport those in a trailer. I just transported them in the back of my SUV.
I
To be
transported mine in
honest,
a trailer.
yeah, to be honest, I probably should have did more masking and stuff while I was doing it because I'm sure it kicked up some dust when you're transporting big bags of stuff. But um, yeah, I had to also transport like buckets of glaze. You know, that was a thing. Those get kind of cumbersome and annoying to. I move them a little bit at a time though. Luckily, I didn't have to pile in 12 buckets of glaze all at
Yeah.
once.
I
And
think that
tried
this
not
is
to
a great time.
stack 'em.
Yeah, I think this is a great time to also mention that even if you don't think you're going to move, it might behoove you to always have containers that can have lids. Like, when I moved from my home studio to the studio at the in Monroe, my large white glaze was in one of those horse troughs, and it did not have a
Does
lid
not
capability.
have a lid.
So I think I poured it into 5-gallon buckets. But keep that in mind. Like, you want something that you can at least have a lid. If you do have to transport it, then you don't have to worry about it. Same with glaze chemicals. Like, I put mine all in trash cans, and they all had lids. So that's just a good practice to get into right away.
Were they secure lids?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, like you couldn't put that on its side.
No, I didn't put them on its side though.
So
Yeah.
you have to transport it vertically, or else
Yeah.
the chemicals spill everywhere.
I think they also did spill everywhere, but we taped them down.
That's great. How would you transport a bunch? I mean, I guess I don't know if this is because I just like to store stuff in a certain way, or I just want to make use of these cat litter containers, but like all of my glaze chemicals are in there. If they're in 50-gallon bags, like they go in those cat litter containers as much as they can.
Yeah.
They have the lids, they're flip top. I mean, I
It must
have
be nice
like
to have a cat that's not too picky about their cat litter. Anyway,
whatever.
continue.
You changed your cat litter to the fancy stuff, and they denied, right?
No,
Lloyd
Lloyd
did
denied
not
the
like.
shitty cat litter.
Oh, I thought he
And
was
then I went to
rebelling.
fancy cat litter, and then I went from fancy cat litter to shitty cat litter, and then I had to go back to fancy cat litter.
Oh, I remembered you saying you switched to fancy, but then you were saying Lloyd was rebelling, but I thought he was rebelling the fancy. He was rebelling the shitty. Oh,
He
okay.
originally rebelled the shitty.
Okay. You just
We
can't
should
please
probably
that cat,
stop.
huh?
No, he's an asshole. I can see him in my window right now. Jerk. Anyway, wow, this is a really ADD podcast.
We're adding a
What were you
little
gonna?
color
Oh
commentary
yeah,
here.
the cat litter containers. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's good too.
They have
For
lids.
transport.
You can
They have
stack
lids.
them nicely. In
Yeah.
the studio, you can stack them nice. I feel like you
Yeah.
stack those better than 5-gallon buckets because they're, I don't know.
5-gallon bucket. But yes.
Yeah. So it was a lot of that kind of moving things. Let's see. Most of my dry materials, I'm actually getting better about storing those outside of bags. They're in like the Talenti containers if they're oxides and stuff, so that they're sealed and they're easy to transport and they're not gonna bust. I did have some in like glass containers, and some of those have busted over the years. And then I'll use like those big like pretzel containers that have like a screw-on lid. Like I'll put stuff in those, so they're secured and they're not gonna disintegrate if they get wet or something. Yeah. Is there anything else about glaze chemicals? They get bulky. I mean, maybe see if you can sell some. Is it worth selling them off, you think? Depending on what it is?
I sold mine off. I sold all my glaze and stuff off.
You know what's really like
for way too cheap.
Crazy? Yeah, like I bought a bunch of glaze chemicals from somebody that it was one that his father used to do. I think I might have told this before, but I got the wheel and stuff from him. He had glaze chemicals there. So old. He had like, 2000, like early 2000s written on it or something. It's like use this one first, or crazy.
I think Andrew
piled up
like
and dusty, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Somebody I saw, I think it was Andrew. He had a glaze chemical that was from like 1965 or some shit like that on a story like the other day. Yeah.
I mean, it was so cheap. I got a bunch of like copper carbonate and some like cobalt and some like tin and like all this stuff that's not super cheap.
Yeah. I
but
would wear a
it's-
mask,
they,
by the
They
way.
pile up.
By the way, when you do ship, like when you do the
Packing them up.
chemicals, I would wear a mask.
Yeah, you're gonna be getting some dust in the air.
Oh, also, how do I pack my kiln safely? You don't ship it. don't ship it.
I think Matt and Tara
They can
might have
take
shipped theirs.
They can take a little bit of a beating.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how they ship theirs. Would you say definitely pack your furniture separate? Don't put it inside your kiln?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Furniture separate. Posts in a box, shelves on their side. Side. Do not put your shelves flat on the ground. They will break. Put them on their side, leaning up against the wall. I put my shelves, I shipped all of my advancer, or packed and moved all of my advancer shelves, and I surrounded every single one of them in cardboard and then taped them all together like in sets of 4, and then I put them on their side against a pillow and then kind of like
Those would probably
snugged them
fit
up
nice in the
against-
floorboard behind your seat.
Yeah, there was a cat there, so.
Oh.
But yes.
Okay.
Well, I was in a U-Haul, so, you know. Yeah, but yeah, definitely you want to ship those, or you want to move those standing up, not laying down. They will break laying down. There's a good chance they'll break laying down.
Okay. Next one on here. What do I do? Well, do you want to do the hire movers thing? Would you hire movers to ship your studio?
Fuck no.
I mean, you're still gonna have to pack all your shit up, right? If you have movers.
Dude, just get some good friends.
I say break it down into, you know, I don't know what kind of storage situation he has in his garage, but you know, work it out over time of like, hey, I'm gonna be in the studio. If I'm leaving the studio, I'm gonna carry a box up.
Yeah.
Or so it's not like, oh, I'm gonna just store all these boxes, so my whole studio is filled with boxes, and I'm gonna move it all in 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not good at that because like I sold everything in my studio. You know, like it was all sold. It the amount of stuff that I had when I moved from Washington to Indiana was not
How big was
very
the trailer?
It was the 10 by 8.
10 by 8, smaller than your first studio.
Yeah. We did a pretty good job of packing it. It was only half tall. There was a couch in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was the smallest truck you can get.
Okay.
Yeah. It was not the truck that with it overhangs the cab.
Mhm.
It was the one that was flat to the back.
Yeah, that's probably what we used to move our last stuff. That's not very big, actually. We had to take all the last things from our house in 3 loads of that.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
half
you don't
of
even
that
have
was my
like you didn't even
studio.
have like a mattress.
Yeah, half of that was my studio, and the mattress was in a box. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we figured out the mover things. Okay. What do I do with my pots? Moving sale, mystery boxes, just take them with me.
Oh, also, wait, with movers, I did consider doing movers. It would have been like 3 times as much expensive, I feel like. But my dad
What if you're
said
moving
that
your house though? I would maybe consider. I just
I
wouldn't
would do
trust people
movers.
with my studio stuff. It's just there's more fragility with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that having movers, what did I say? I spent so much fucking money moving all of the shit. I probably spent like $1,500 at the end of the day. I think it would have been cheaper doing movers actually, and then just driving. But I would have had to be there at a certain time, which I had to be there at a certain time anyway.
If they're moving it across, I mean, obviously it takes longer, but are they just they arrive with a U-Haul or they arrive with a pod kind of thing? Is that what you
Yeah.
would do?
My parents did a pod for when they moved my uncle, and they really liked it. My dad was like all about that, and he's cheaper than you are. So,
I mean, I feel like a pod, if you can deal without it for 2 weeks or however long it takes to transport it.
yeah, that seems reasonable for sure.
If all
I
you got to
should
do
have
is
done
pack
that.
up and drive like you're doing a cross-country trip and take your
Right?
bare essentials so that you can like live when you get there for a week or 2 weeks or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. They're just moving across town. Like, not
Or they're moving a
across
couple
town.
hours, but or something like that.
Yeah. Cool. What do I do with my pots? Moving sale, mystery boxes, just take them with me. Don't take them fucking with you. Not
What
the
would you
old
say
stuff.
if they're what if they're I'm sure he's got a lot of finished pots that are like seconds
Nice.
quality that are
Oh,
they're wood fired and they like the wood fired you got a lot of loss in them because they're wonky, they're glaze dripped, they got
Yeah.
and like I would say if you have to spend effort to like finish them, if they're already finished, like sanding them and bottoms and doing all that, I wouldn't do that. I would, maybe the mystery
Don't do
box
this.
sale or I did a little smashing game with a bunch of Bisqueware that I had sitting around that I was like, oh, I'll do something with this. It's a planter. It's got a crack in the bottom. It's like, oh, that's a plant. No, I just smashed it and threw it away.
I threw so much shit away when I moved studios. So much shit.
I piled up so much Bisqueware of just pieces that were just odds and ends, things that I don't make in my normal rotation. It's like, this is like 3 years old. Why am I keeping this?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think a moving sale is a great idea. Like,
Yeah, just tell people, hey, I'm getting rid of this. You're saving it from a dumpster.
yeah, and sell them for cheap. Don't be super prideful about your shit, like just
Your prices.
I mean, he wouldn't.
Just
But
be like, hey, this is all icing on the cake. This is going toward our move.
yeah. Yeah, and then mystery boxes are great too. I think people love mystery boxes, and if you can do it before, no, you can't. But I mean, like Christmas time is a great time to do mystery boxes. January is actually a pretty good time to do mystery
I like
boxes.
this. I did my first mystery box sale in the spring back when
Yeah.
I first did them in 2020. Yeah, mystery box is good. People like that.
Mhm.
And yeah, the better enticing you can be with your price and stuff. If you really don't care and you just want to get rid
Mhm.
of stuff, the mystery box gives you that flexibility of like
Totally.
$50 and it's out. And the packing is kind of a nuisance because you have
Yeah.
to pack everything. But the good thing is you're getting rid of packing material because you probably got to transport that anyways.
Yeah.
So
For sure. If I don't want to be like Becca and throw away a bunch of reclaim, what should I do with it? Well, I can't help you out there because that's a dumb idea. You should always be like Becca.
don't be like Becca. And then there's a saying, you should always be like Becca. And then
I don't know what did you
line
do with your
under
reclaim?
Becca. I didn't have more than 5 gallons of reclaim, so I just brought 2 5-gallon buckets over to the house.
Okay, that's not bad. I don't know what
And
to
they
tell
weren't
you
even
because
full. I mean, I had 2 5-gallon buckets and I had a bucket that was slip in it, but the slip was like half full. So
yeah,
it wasn't terrible. And I didn't have a bunch of dry stuff because they always are encapsulated within a 5-gallon limit. And if it's full, then I reclaim it. So
yeah. I'm actually reclaiming clay right now, by the way. Like I did actually reclaim clay.
at your personal studio, yeah.
Yeah, I felt really proud of myself. It is a lot easier when you just have 5 gallons. So easy.
Yeah. And you don't have a pug mill, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Do you know if Andrew has a pug mill?
He does not have a pug mill, nor a mixer. I think somebody has a mixer that he knows. I think it's Doug.
I thought it was a clay
But
mixer though.
Yeah, I think him and Doug went to get a clay mixer, a Shimpo. No, a
Bluebird.
Bluebird. Was it Bluebird or was it? No, it
I
was a
don't know.
Soldner. It was a Soldner clay mixer. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's heavy as fuck to move.
That's heavy as fuck.
Speaking of heavy as fuck, did you ever get your Lockerbie wheel? Another tangent.
Yeah.
You did? It's in your studio?
No, it's right outside the door.
Oh, okay. Does it fit through the doorway?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
We didn't check, honestly. We should probably check.
You're just gonna be throwing outside in the hallway. Nobody's gonna steal this. It's too damn heavy.
Yeah, I had to get the rolling carts back, so we just like kind of stuck it next to the door. I was like, RJ's not gonna care. It's fine. We're all the way in the corner anyway. Yeah, it's cool. And I'm using the splash pan on my wheel, and that's great.
I know you love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to figure out a few things, but it's great. Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on how much reclaim we're talking here. Are we talking?
Yeah, if you have
and are we
more
talking
than,
wet reclaim or are we talking dry reclaim?
if you have more than 10 gallons of reclaim, you have an issue, and you need to deal with that with therapy, and that therapy is throwing it in the fucking trash, okay? Because that because it's seriously like, do not transport more than 10 gallons of reclaim to your new studio. You're gonna fucking break your back first. It's so heavy. It's not worth it. Just
Oh
throw
no,
them
you wouldn't
away.
put more than 10 gallons in you wouldn't put 10 gallons in one bucket though, right?
No, but I mean like 2 5-gallon buckets. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like when I move studios without having any reclaim, um, like pug mill or anything like that, I had like 15 buckets of reclaim, and I was like, this is just throw it away.
Yeah, I mean that might give you a fresh start. You might need a fresh start, you know? And I don't think he's going directly to a studio, so
I mean, you could give it to your local school, obviously, if they wanted it, but
or just offer it up and say, "Hey, if somebody's
yeah.
local that wants it, here,
Oh,
come get it. It's cone whatever clay." And
yeah. Also, you can make a pizza oven at your new house. That's also another thing you could do.
by the way, we're thinking of building a pizza oven outside here, right out here on the patio. Do you want to be involved
Rachel,
in building that?
yes, fuck yeah, I do.
Where do you get
That's,
bricks for that? Do you just use regular bricks, or do you have to get like kiln bricks and stuff?
I think kiln bricks, or you can make it out of rocks, stones.
Are you talking about the reclaim because you cover the top of the thing with reclaim?
You do like a sand dome, and then you cover the
Ooh,
top, and then you bake it from the inside. Yeah,
this would be fucking legit.
but it does crack, like it cracks.
Yeah.
But it still holds its shape, and it bakes itself eventually. Oh, I like this next one. Where can I get boxes? How big of boxes?
I think I wrote these, but that's all right.
Oh, that's okay. General rule of thumb for me for boxes is no larger than 12 by 12 because if you can help it. 20 by 20 is too big. Good
I
luck
would
lifting
say
it.
I would say no bigger than like a Rubbermaid container for me.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're putting in there, but you could put a lot. Um, I had some that were about that size that had like dry materials in there, like raw materials I put inside a cardboard box that were all individually bagged, and
Yeah.
that was manageable. It was still kind of heavy, but
Yeah, most of my boxes were like 12 by 12 by 12. I had a few 20 by 20 by 6 or 8 or whatever. But I actually just bought mine from Uline.
12 by 12 is not really that big though. Like a clay box, two clay boxes together are like 12 by 12 by 12, right?
It's a lot bigger than you'd think. You can get a lot of shit in there. Yeah, but like imagine lifting.
I
Okay,
was
like
lifting that box right there had my dry materials in it.
okay, then 16 by 16 by 16. Don't go to a fucking 20 by 20 though. Those are awkward as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Especially, I mean, most of those you got to carry by the bottom anyways. You can't like side handle those because the stuff's going to be so
yeah.
compact in there.
Yeah. If I was going to move, I would not buy my boxes from Lowe's. Although those boxes are extremely heavy duty, they're kind of expensive. I'd probably buy them from the local box store, like, the paper supply store.
Why are you buying boxes?
Where?
Why are you buying boxes? I would suggest finding places that you can get boxes. Buppery.
See,
I don't know.
I'm more of a mover of organization. So I would rather pay for the boxes and have them all be the same size and stack neatly in the U-Haul than like go find a bunch of boxes.
That's true. That if it has to be systematic and you're working with specific space, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Limited
but also
space.
Rubbermaids are great too. Like, Rubbermaid totes. Those are great. Like the ones from Lowe's and stuff, if you can reuse them. But yeah, I'll pay for the boxes every single fucking time.
Yeah. I was packing the shit out of my finished piece bin. So like every finished piece bin that I had, I was packing those full with everything that's finished so that I'm not transporting a bunch of finished stuff. I mean, I did end up having to because I had an entire box of planters that's like huge, and I didn't take it easy on them and like wrap them and layer it with cardboard. I just stacked them all in there, and as long as it was compact in there and they weren't shifting around and moving a lot, they were fine. Like,
now here's something to go back to what we were talking about, like, should you keep all your pots or sell all your pots? You moved a lot of finished pots. It's not like you got rid of a ton of pots.
I mostly got rid of bisqueware that was shit.
Yeah, because you like just moved down the street. It was like.
Yeah. Plus, I always have excess finished pots.
Right, and
I always have like 300 or 400 finished pots, or 500.
Right, and there was no time in between. Like, let's say you're moving someplace new and you have to pause business for a little while. I think that has to be discussed too. Like, if you're pausing business for a little while versus if you're continuing business as you move.
Yes.
So that affects whether you're going to be selling a bunch of shit or keeping a bunch of shit,
Because the most finished pots you sell, the less you got to move. So
right.
But I would rather have. I still had things on the books. Like I still had shows on the books, so I had to have pieces finished for those. Plus, I would get way more worrisome to not have any pots, and then you have to get set up in your studio and start making stuff from scratch to have enough for your next show that you have to do or whatever. Yeah. Is there an ideal time of year that you would be preferable to move?
Yeah, not in the fucking winter. Don't.
What would you consider the winter? What months are the winter that you're considering that?
I don't know. Whenever there's rain or snow. Rain or snow. Don't move in the rain or snow if you can help it. Because I packed up my whole shit in pouring down rain and it was terrible.
Like December to March? December to February?
I would say even November to February.
We had the perfect time. I feel like fall is the perfect time to be.
Yeah, because it's not too cold and it's not too hot.
And also, all your shit at the house is like grass is dying, or you don't have to cut it as much. Your trees are dying. You have leaves that fall, but you don't have outdoor maintenance once the fall hits, really.
Yeah. Not here. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely would. If you have to move in Washington, just try to avoid the rainy season. So maybe just move in June.
I feel like that could be getting picky. We're getting picky. Most people don't have a choice of when they're moving exactly, but yeah, ideally.
Try to find a day that doesn't involve rain.
It's like an art show, Becca. Though you have your date on the calendar. You know when you got your truck coming. So it's like, all right, the truck is coming Saturday, rain or shine. I'm not changing it if it's raining. I
also do think that it's really important to plan it out a little bit. When I moved,
movers, you definitely have to plan ahead. Like you can't just get somebody within a couple weeks or a week, right?
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, let's say you're moving it yourself, and let's say you're moving not only your studio but your house. Okay. But we're gonna talk about just the studio, right? So let's say you have one truck for the studio or one trailer for the studio. What I would do, make sure you're packing everything up. And, well, I guess you didn't do this. Like, if you're moving a far distance and you have to use a U-Haul, make sure you're packing everything up and putting it in one location and kind of seeing how things fit together so that once you do get it in the truck, it's easy. You're just like packing up boxes, stacking them up.
Your boxes are already packed, obviously. You're not packing as you're...
Yeah, don't pack as you go. Like, pack all of it and then move all of it. Don't, if you're moving down the street like Ryan did, you can pack as you go, but I still think it's really important to just pack it all up anyway. It kind of shows you how much stuff you have and gives you an idea of what that space is going to be looking like,
Yeah, I was pretty systematic with it. I feel like I packed up, pack up all my like pottery books. Like, I literally don't take but like one book off the shelf a year anyway. So it's like, pack those things that you're not touching at all. You never touch, pack those. Like,
throw them away.
Yeah, I'm not throwing them away, but maybe I'll donate them or something. Pack that stuff up, packed my raw materials up. I'm not mixing glazes anymore for this year or whatever, or before I leave the studio, like, pack those up. If you're not making any new stuff, pack your wheels up, unplug them. Don't tempt yourself to like, oh, I'm just going to make some more stuff. Like, no, just draw, like, no more wet clay.
Set a time.
Yeah, and like, disconnect the wheels, move the wheels out of the room so you can clear out that space.
I think planning is really important. Like, it takes a lot of planning to move a studio, especially if you're working through it. And like you did, and like setting dates is super important and sticking to those dates.
Yeah. I think I said like no more wet clay October 1st or something.
Yeah.
And then, well, we closed on the house October 24th, I think, but we were still getting the studio we still were getting the house ready to list and stuff. So I was like, hey, we're going to close on this 24th, but I don't want to do any wet clay into October because I know I had plenty to glaze and stuff like that. So I think that's what it was, October. Maybe it was through October, and then I didn't make anything in November.
Yeah.
That was wet.
What was the first thing you moved in? Like, if you move it in sections. So like, when I moved my home studio to the store, the first thing I moved in was my wheel because I needed to start throwing.
No, mine wasn't the wheel. Mine was, I would say it was probably the raw materials because they were in 5-gallon buckets.
Okay.
They were in the like cat litter buckets. They were underneath my table. So those are like heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of a like, I don't want to put off all the shitty stuff to move till the end. Like, I'm not moving all my glazes last and all my raw material, like all the really heavy stuff. So you try to like systematically, like, okay, I can take a couple boxes of bisqueware. Like, that's not terrible, but like, I don't want to take 10 buckets of glaze all at once.
Yeah.
Because that's exhausting.
I was just thinking about how this is the fucking podcast of tangents. I was just thinking about when I moved into the new space. It was December of 2017. So 4 years ago. Well, yeah. 4 years ago. And I just remember thinking, like, just sitting there on OSB because that was I wanted to protect the floor. Bad idea. I wanted to protect the floor.
How do you clean OSB?
Oh, you don't. It was fucking terrible. Just ruin the wood.
Or linoleum. I don't know. Do they like roll out linoleum?
I don't know. But anyway, I was just like sitting there and I was throwing my wheel and like it was just so empty, it was just so empty. And I was just thinking about the progression of the studio over the 3 years and like how proud I am of like how it grew. And I think that it's really important to note that when you move to a new studio space, give yourself time to grow. Like, you don't have to have everything all at once at the very beginning.
Like, oh, I've got all this space. Let me get a slab roller because I have room for it now.
Right. Like, all I had was a wheel, and I think I had 1 or 2 kilns, and my
Couple good
glazed bucket.
tables and shelving and.
I had one table and I made all the shelves, and but it was a real slow progression. It was super slow. Like the first year it looked
It
like a whole
looked empty.
Yeah, it looked really empty, and the last year it was so full, so like cool and like filled with all the things. So I think that that's really important too, is that use this as a new beginning. If you're going to move your whole studio space, and it's not a new beginning, but use it as a new beginning. Like find the really important things that you need, and make the space your own, and be willing to change things, because this new space is not going to be the same as your old space. It's not going to work the same. You're
Some
going to have
shelving
to have
units
a good
won't
system.
fit, or like you can't
Right.
have this really, really nice table that you love so much, but it like there's no spot for
Yeah.
it. Or
Yeah. And it's a new space, you have to work within that new space. So I think that that's really important too, is that it requires a mental shift as well as a physical shift.
yeah.
That was so
Yeah,
profound.
I've had to adjust my, because like when I was first getting in there and I was setting up my wheels and stuff, I was like, oh well, I don't like being against a wall, so I'm
Right.
gonna put my wheels in the middle of the room with the table here. But then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, it's bulky. It's like that's like half the room. Like if I had my shelving units in there that I have now with the wheels in the middle, like I would feel like there's nowhere else to grow in the space.
Yeah.
So like I bought those slender like 18-inch deep 5-foot tables,
Yeah.
and that's against the wall, and then my wheels are against that. So I don't need a 3-foot deep or 2.5-foot deep table in front of my wheel. Like I don't need all that space. So
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah, I
you got to
remember
fit within the space.
when you first put them in the middle. I don't know if I told you or not, but I was like, that's a terrible idea. And like that.
Yeah,
I think I was like,
I worked with it for a few weeks, and then I was like, I'm gonna get these
no.
shallower tables. I'm gonna put it against the wall.
Yeah. But yeah, you just have to be willing to move with it and adjust with it.
Yeah. It was great with my old space though. That was like the spot to put them, I think.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Because it was a
Like
big
a big
open room.
sea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the pole was kind of a weird spot, and I wanted to see the TV. That was part of the reason I put it in the middle at the new studio, because I was like, oh well, the TV's gonna have to go up here because I don't have anywhere else to put it. So I got to be within range, but I don't really have to I don't have to see it directly. It can be in the periphery. Plus I'm standing, so I can shift around the wheel and adjust where
you can also put a little mirror up there so you could see you could just peek at the TV in the mirror. I am somebody that has to face the wall. I have to face a wall, and there's I've always had to face a wall, so I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For distractions and stuff.
Yeah, for distractions. What was I gonna say? Oh, Merritt was saying that at the studio now, in Gravesco, I'm in what used to be their lounge area, and it's like this 10 by 10 space, probably.
Kind of by the front, but where the gallery's at?
Yeah. Oh, it's an 8 by 8 space, maybe. Yeah. And where you were sitting on the couch doing the
I was
work.
working that day.
Yeah. And when I got there, I was like, okay, I want to face the wall. She's like, okay, and it's an open space, and so we actually had to put a whiteboard halfway blocking, because I kept getting distracted.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like a whiteboard wall. It's like sideways, and it kind of bows a little.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's shelves behind me. And Merritt, who started working there in August, was like, yeah, I thought it was so cool that you had a whiteboard right by your wheel, but it's never changed. You've never even written on it. And I was like, that's because it's only there to block space.
You want to put some OSB and Visqueen up?
Yeah. I know, we thought about getting a curtain.
back to your roots.
Yeah. But yeah, I always have to be completely closed off from the outside world. So.
Yeah, I do not.
Ears and eyes. Ears and noses. Yeah, ears and eyes.
Yeah, I need the like openness to make me feel like I'm not like compact in there. I don't like that. Or a little bit of openness. I mean, I'm standing up, but if I'm standing up and like looking at a wall, maybe it's because I work at a desk and there's a wall right in front of me on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of it, or like, there's I'm in a corner kind of here, but it's open. I don't know, but
yeah, man, I miss my old studio.
do you? Are you missing like equipment that you didn't bring, or just like the flexibility of what you had to work with? I mean, you got a pretty nice studio now, though.
No, I really like the layout of the old studio, and there were these nice IKEA table islands that like didn't move at all and were like heavy as fuck, and I always set them like 6 feet apart and work between both of them. It was just great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had my little studio in the back that was tiny.
Yeah. I want you to, when you come here, I want to see if you have some ideas for I'm trying to figure out some things in the studio. I feel like I'm comfortable with the making studio, but the glazing area I'm a little iffy about, and storage and shelving and stuff. It's a little weird.
I feel like we could probably make something that
there's
would
just so many
really
buckets, and I'm like,
Have
I'm
you
working
seen
with the
those?
tables I've got, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. Have you seen those like table bucket like things where they like lift up the buckets? It's kind of like a layered system.
You
I
like
think that we
flip it
could,
open, and you
yeah,
can
we
get
could
to the
like make
buckets.
something for you that would work in that regard.
That's a good idea.
Saves...
It's like the whole thing is on a rolling cart, and there's like 6 buckets
Yeah.
that sit into like a wood
Yeah.
top.
Yeah,
That might not be a bad idea.
And we could make it nice wood so you could clean it at least, Yeah, I think that and that's another thing is like you like space savings solutions.
Yeah, I'm also figuring out like shelving. I'm like, the one shelf that I have Bisqueware on now is not big enough because I definitely fill more than one shelf of Bisqueware. So I'm like,
yeah.
Do I need to buy more shelving? Like, do I have? I mean, I got this rolling cart here, but I'm like, I don't know if that needs to go in there or if I need to use that for storage in the storage area of the basement that we need to use for actual organizing that stuff.
Right, and I think that like also in a space like that, I don't know how tall it is, but you can utilize the ceiling if you just drop down some boards and then you can like store up top.
Yeah, the
And
ceiling's not super high. It's probably like 8 foot maybe.
okay. Well, we can look at it. But yeah, there's like a lot of options, and you have that little space on the side too that you could potentially use for storage, for like long-term storage.
I have stuff in there in the corner.
Oh, good.
There's
good,
yeah, I've got all my rose and my rose bags and my cub bags in there.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, like, there's a lot of ways to do it, and like, especially if you have like a shipping area or something. Like,
that was something I forgot about. Yeah.
Yeah, my friend, like, you have to decide where you're gonna have your shipping area if you do online shipping. And like my friends, when they built their studio, they built racks above because they had like a tall garage. So they built racks above and put specific size spaces for all the boxes so that they could just pull out the boxes.
Like Kurt
because they
Hammerly?
have yeah, kind of like that. And because they have, I mean, I wasn't talking about Kurt, but yes. And yeah, everybody needs Greg. So
everybody needs
like,
a Greg. Definitely.
Everybody needs a Greg. But yeah, like really look at your spaces and see how you can utilize the ceiling if it is a tall space, because
yeah, you can just throw
could
some
even
packing peanuts up there. Those things take up a lot of space, and if you only need them once a quarter, take a step stool and get up there and get it.
Exactly. Like, store shit above or on the side of things. And yeah, I'm kind of running into that right now too, because we don't have a dedicated space for shipping in the studio area.
Do you have a central table somewhere?
No, and I really wanted to get like a central table. We might still make one, but I also think that we have a kiln that Dusty just fucking left that I'm gonna throw in the dumpster. So Sarah's gonna take the elements and we're gonna throw it in the dumpster. And I think we could take that area in the corner and make it into a shipping area for all of us.
Oh, okay.
So that it, we
Yeah,
could
'cause
share it, like especially if you're sharing a space.
Yeah, I mean, if there was only 2 of you in there, you could easily put a table out somewhere that wouldn't interfere with
Yeah.
anybody's space. But there's 3 of you now. I mean, do you have like a central spot that you could, or
Yeah,
it would
well,
just be
there's
kind of, you'd have to keep it clean and not use it for other stuff. And
yeah, there's 3 of us now, and there's actually 4 of us. One of them doesn't pay for rent because I'd already told Allie she could share the studio with me before Merritt and Sarah even came.
Mhm.
So that was kind of like part of the deal. And then after in January she's leaving. So
okay,
yeah, but
yeah, having a dedicated
so
space with boxes and packing stuff
yeah.
is definitely nice. Like all of my packing stuff is inside the basement area. I
Yeah.
don't go into my, like, it doesn't go into my studio. It's not getting dusty, all that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I do pretty much just pack it at my desk that I work at, which is a decent surface for not too many packages. And then the printer. Oh, I didn't tell you. I got a new, can you see that in the background? You can't see that. The white thing right there?
Hey,
That's a new Rollo wireless printer.
they have a wireless printer?
Yeah. Well,
Did they
it's plugged
sponsor
in the
you
wall,
for
but
it?
it's wireless. They actually sent it to me. I was like a trial beta tester. I couldn't tell anybody until it was live, so
That's fucking dope. Do you
it's
love it?
sweet. Yeah, it's great. It prints out perfectly. It doesn't get caught. I basically do everything on my computer here, and then I print, and it prints on there. It doesn't have to be wired.
Can they send me one too? Can we do a sponsorship for the podcast? Hello.
Hello, Rollo. Hello. They just released it like a week and a half ago, and it's sold out. Like they gone.
How much is it?
I don't know. What is it? $200? $250? More than that?
Oh, $279.
$279. What's
Same
the
as
old
the
one?
fucking
What's the old one?
additional inventory available in 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 50 seconds.
Oh, so they're adding more. Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's really
at
cool.
midnight.
Ryan, look at you with all your opportunities and sponsorships.
You can use my old one if you need it.
I have one. I actually took my Dymo labeler
Okay.
to the studio for the girls to use too. Rebecca said something about UPS actually will give you a printer if you use enough UPS shit,
That's sweet.
like a label printer.
Yeah. But yeah, having a dedicated, or at least having an idea where you're going to ship stuff. Because, I mean, I'm sure some people ship in their living spaces a lot because they just don't have a dedicated space that's outside their studio or that's in their studio.
Yeah.
And it's too dirty and dusty and your finished pots are getting stuff all over them. Even if you just have a table that you can flip out just to ship. I don't know. And I also had to consider, like, where am I going to store all of my pots for shows? It's a little iffy right now because they are all in the basement. So when I do a show, I have to walk them up and put them in the car. Or, take them out the walkout and walk around the side of the house to put them in the car. But I'm thinking I might store some of it in the garage. Longer term, but we'll see how the shelving situation is there. But yeah. Let's see. The only other questions, will you immediately have a place?
Wait. I need to read something.
Go.
Okay. How to get the Zebra LP 28444 for free from UPS. Set up an online account with UPS. Head over to ups.com and enter the required information or create that account. Once you have the account, you'll need to call UPS Customer Service Center on 1-800-742-5877. They are available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. The automated response will ask if you want shipping information or track a package. Press 0 on your keypad to speak to a customer service representative. Ask to speak to an account manager in order to set up an account. The account manager will walk you through the steps in opening your account. Once your account is open, speak to the account manager about renting a printer from UPS. The standard rental amount for a UPS thermal printer is $2 per week. But the account manager has the ability to waive the fee entirely for customers who ship in high volume.
What's considered high volume?
Like what we do.
Like what
I
we
don't know.
like if
No,
yeah.
like what Rebecca does, like shipping
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
100 packages a day.
That's 100 a day.
I don't know what they ship a day. Probably like 30 to 40 a day.
I mean, I probably pack like 10 a week, maybe. It's been more lately, but yeah, that's probably not high enough volume for 10 a week, but
even though, yeah, but like that, that's pretty interesting. So like, if you're listening and you do have a high volume, that's a way to get a free label printer. The more you know.
Yeah. Also, the way that I initially did it, I'm pretty sure Andrew told me about the Rolo thing. So reach out to them and say, hey, I would like to. I forget what it was, but it was something about advertising and sharing, like try it out and sharing.
Yeah, Andrew, my best friend Andrew, not Andrew Linderman, was the one who told you about the Rolo thing. He got sponsored through, I think it was TikTok for his shipping stuff, and then you got sponsored. I probably could have gotten sponsored.
I'm in the know now. I got the Rolo connection.
Oh shit. The Rolo connection. Dude on the other side.
That'll be our ad, Becca. You'll just have to sing that.
If anybody else heard that when he said Rolo connection, thought of Rainbow Connection, you gotta let me know, because that is immediately what I heard.
I was thinking like ludicrous, like roll out, but you're like Rolo. By the way, speaking of Rolos, did you ever eat the Rolo candy? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Fucking kidding me? Those are the best ones.
They're so good. Chocolate covered caramels, delicious.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Ooh, I wonder if I could send you caramel in the mail. Or
Did you say caramel or caramel?
Caramel.
Caramel?
I say caramel. I don't know if that's a Midwest West thing.
I say caramel.
Caramel. Wow, we're doing great today.
So we got the UPS thing. Becca gave you the blog read of how to do the UPS thing.
Yeah.
The other questions I asked him were, will you immediately have a place to put everything when you move? Do you have a bigger studio than you currently have, smaller, or do you need to build a studio? So kind of factors in with, like, do you have space to put stuff when you get there? Or, there's also like, do you need to make when you get there?
Right.
You also need to think about we kind of mentioned the water a little bit, but you also need to figure out, like, is electrical going to be accessible? Like, how much is it going to cost you? And like, where can you put this? Because when you get that thing hooked up, you don't want to be moving it. So you don't want to be like, oh, I'm just going to hook it up in this spot for the time being, because it's going to cost you a lot of money to wire that anyways.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
definitely.
Electrical should be the first thing. Like, you should even look up electrical, or have somebody come out to the house before you even fucking buy the house, because that can.
You look in the box and it's like, oh well, the box isn't equipped to take a 40 amp breaker because the breaker box is full, or the whole house only runs on 150 and it's currently running 120 to it, or 100 or all the spots are full or something. Like, you'd have to get a major electrical overhaul to get it working, and that can add the big bucks. You had to rewire some stuff at the studio, right?
Yeah.
What was that for? What was it running on, and what is it because
the new studio?
No, didn't you have the big power update that you had to do at your old studio in Washington?
Yeah. Okay, so originally, I moved into the studio. Well, I looked at the studio, and then I was like, there's not enough power. And then Terry got his friend to do a on the down low electrical situation to hook up the kilns before I even moved in to the studio. And then it turns out that I was running two 60 amp kilns on a 100 amp panel that also
Pushing
took
it.
the whole fucking building.
Oh my god. Wait, there's 100 amps for the whole building?
Yes.
And it was in your studio?
Yeah, it was a 3,000 square foot studio with 120 amps. And
it was for the whole wait. When you say the whole building, you mean like your neighbors and stuff, right?
No, just for me.
Just for you.
Building.
Okay. I thought you meant that. Okay. Just
and
for
then
Gotcha.
I lived with that for like a year, and I would like I would never run a kiln at the same time. Both of them at the same time. But then I had to upgrade the electrical from 100 amp, 120 amp or whatever it was to
Probably 300 or something, or 250
340 amp.
340.
340, and then they hooked in the 80 amp. No, the big kiln was 100 amp hardwired, and then the other two
The big
were
kiln
not
was
hardwired.
100. The oval kiln is 100 amps.
It was 80 amps, but requires 100 amps.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That wiring would be ridiculous.
It was like this thick. It was like probably the size of a $50. No, bigger than $50.
Yeah.
Sir. Like 2 inches almost of wires.
Yeah, that's nuts. We got the wire that we got was $300 for 125 feet of wire for for my kilns.
I mean, thankfully it was right next to the panels, but it cost me $8,000, $10,000 for the whole electrical situation.
And that was because you were running 3 kilns.
Yeah. And and every kiln was new at that point. Baby kiln, oval kiln came at the same time, and then scut kiln was new as well. But baby kiln and scut kiln all plugged in. I would recommend hardwire, wiring them in regardless. Like the kiln I have now is hardwired in. There's no melting of plugs if they're hardwired,
We've seen some of those on Clay Buddies and
yeah, it's just as easy to hardwire as it is to fucking put a plug in. So it was a lot. Like the electrician literally came into my studio and he was like he walked in. He was like, "We're so busy." He walked in, looked at my box and said, "We'll have it done in 2 weeks." Because he was like, "You're going to burn your fucking building down." That's how bad it was. And Terry didn't even pay for any of it. I'm like, "You put me at risk, you motherfucker." Yeah.
By having a box that was insufficient?
No, the wiring was so old and so janky. It was so outdated.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was super dangerous.
Yeah.
It wasn't even what I was running off of it.
Yeah, you definitely need I would say the electrical part is probably one of the biggest hurdles or stumbling blocks of getting your stuff set up. Yeah.
And most important, because you have a dad that can do electrical stuff, but not a lot of people do, and you do not want to do electrical if you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Oh yeah.
If there's anything to pay for in a studio, it is the electrical. You can start a fire so quick if something goes wrong. You can electrocute yourself. It's so dangerous to do the electrical by yourself if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. And so keep that in mind.
Pay for it.
Just pay for it.
I mean, we had to pay for an electrician to do the stuff for the house that we're selling because they want a licensed electrician on paper that can give you a receipt and it gives liabilities and stuff like that. So they had to do that for hardwiring the water heater that they had to install, electrical water heater. So
and if I had ever turned in the plans to the city for my permits, which I never did, they would also need
they need a licensed electrician that knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. No, it's super important. Super duper important. So If we can advise you in anything, pay for the electrician. That's what we advise.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Even honestly, especially if it's not your own space, I wouldn't do it under the table, regardless of who you know.
Yeah.
Because having the permits there is really important.
I learned a lot when we were doing it, but I was like, man, electricians, like, that's probably a great freaking profession. Like, so many people need, it's like plumbing. It's, people need these services. It's, especially if you're selling houses or hooking up. Like, I was actually thinking in the back of my mind recently, I don't know if I should say this, but I was thinking like if I quit my job and stuff, like what would go into like being like getting a licensed electrician and like doing some of that stuff on the side just to make some extra money, like just for people that I know and I'm licensed to do it.
Yeah.
Like there's probably demand out there that you could,
I think you have to go through a journeyman. I think you have to go through a journeyman program. I think you have to do it like for 4 years.
Yeah. Like, it's 4 years.
I think so. Yeah. It's no joke, you know?
Yeah, it's not like I thought maybe it was like a year or something that you'd go do some classes and learn all the scientific stuff of it and
Isn't
Are you Googling it or something?
Yep. Isn't Paul Blaze an electrician?
I don't know.
Okay. Generally speaking, electricians in most Indiana counties need about 4 years of work experience under the supervision of a master electrician, as well as 150 hours of classroom instruction each year before they can take the journeyman or residential electrician exam.
Damn. Yeah, so you have to work. You have to work under people. That's why the electrician guy that actually did my the stuff at our house was he was like, yeah, I'm just spread so thin because I had a guy work for me that left and he started his own thing. I thought he was gonna, be here for a long time and be my right hand man kind of thing. And so he must have got to that. He must have got to that point where he was like, okay, I'm licensed now, or whatever.
Yeah, I know somebody who was an accountant who became an electrician, and he fucking loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Fun.
I think we're done.
Oh, the last question. Do you need to consider renting a studio until you can have another home studio? Do a lot of people do that? Like they get in there and they're like, I can't make this work. Or like maybe you go rent at a community studio so that you can, have the regularity and fire pots.
Yeah. That makes sense. Like at least rent access to a kiln,
Yeah. It's like rent. I kind of think of it like renting an apartment or a house while you're getting your house built or something like.
Yeah.
You don't have a permanent thing.
Yeah, you can always set up a wheel anywhere. That's what I say. You can always set up a wheel anywhere. You can make a makeshift studio anywhere with a wheel, but you can't put a kiln everywhere. Like when I first moved to Gold Bar, I was in a 1-bedroom apartment and my wheel was 3 feet away from my bed. And I made it work, although I will, if you are in a 1-bedroom apartment, if you ever get clay in your dishwasher, it will never leave. Just forewarning. It just travels to all the other pots and pans. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. That makes sense. Quality. This is quality podcasting we're doing right now.
Would you ever just not have? I'm sure a lot of people like just don't have kilns, right? So they transport.
Yeah. Chris Birch doesn't have a kiln.
I feel like that would suck.
Yeah. When I first started doing pots, I didn't have a kiln. I would double box my Rubbermaid containers so that when the bottom bowed down, it wouldn't move. So I could set it down without the bottom like moving. That's a trick, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, because if it's too heavy, then it'll bow a little bit. Hi, Rachel.
Autumn's jumping around chasing a fly or something, so she's having fun.
And Yeah, and I'd have to transport my pots like 30 miles.
Oh my gosh.
It was terrible.
That would be horrible, especially if you had to like transport them.
Transport greenware.
Greenware's the worst.
Yeah.
I get
And people-
worried about like how far do I have to transport my greenware from my studio to the other room? I don't have to go. Even like
Yeah.
going up and down stairs would be like, fuck that.
Sarah freaked out when I showed up to the show with just like cardboard boxes with pots stacked inside of them. And I was like, dude, you don't even know.
Like, yeah, that's fit at the finished state. If they're packed in there pretty tightly and they're not moving around that much, like that's less
Yeah.
risky than. I mean, it's like I've transported greenware. It's like I've done that. So
Yeah.
it's I've the most risky thing I've had to do is transport pots from like a show that I demoed at, or like a farmer's market, and I had to take like bins of like damp boxes and pad the pieces that I put in there. Luckily, they firm up throughout the day, but
I've loaded wet pots on bats into the back of my car.
I think I did that once from Baker Hunt. It was at the Twilight event earlier this year in the spring or the fall, and I just had a board, like a drywall board that had pots on it. And luckily nothing fell over, but I just sat it in the trunk of my SUV. That was good. So no sudden stops or anything, and it was good.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Whew. All right. Whew. Good luck, Andrew, with moving.
I hope that helped.
I don't think we ever talked about moving stuff before, so.
We've talked a little bit, but yeah, not in that in depth and or scatterbrained.
Yeah, that's all right.
Well, what are you gonna do?
That's half of what people are here for.
I know, they're just sitting in their fucking studios throwing pots anyway, so.
And laughing and whatever.
And probably yelling at us. Hopefully your children aren't listening as well. I think I cussed more in this episode than almost any other episode.
Really?
I don't know. I think I'm getting worse.
I think you're rubbing off on me.
I think I am. You remember, like, when we started, you would never cuss, and now you do a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you do in your normal daily life, like when we talk.
Yeah.
But
do you when you do your presentation? I'm trying to think if I'm gonna need to. I feel like I'll be more.
There's no fucking way I'm gonna be able to not say fuck. Like.
I'll just tell you right now, there's no fucking way I'm not cussing up here. If you don't like it, just leave. There's no other presentation for you to go to except the long-term demo, but go over there.
Scoot your booty on over.
Make room. Plenty of seats up front.
I promise I don't spit. For those of you who don't know, me and Ryan will be at ClayCon West on January 14th, 15th, 16th?
Yes.
Yeah.
In St. George, Utah.
St. George, Utah. So if you're near there in Las Vegas or anything like that, we'll be there. It's beautiful. At the
Dixie Convention Center, I think is what it's called.
And Joe Bott puts it on. And yeah, it's going to be great. I'm teaching on efficiencies while throwing, and Ryan is speaking on business.
I thought maybe you knew. Different ways to sell. So I'll be talking about, consignment, wholesale, art shows, online. I honestly have not made my presentation yet, but it will include a lot of ways to sell and pros and cons of all of them. So
I also have not made my presentation, nor will I. So, yeah.
But I'll have mine prepared and stuff. But we'll see.
I'm
hoping to get a lot of.
Oh,
what?
go on.
Andrew Linderman will not.
He was my show dummy for the show.
I mean, I did a little bit, and you kind of show dummy me. If you want to, I'm sure you can get some confident people out there that'll want to show dummy. Yeah. I can start the show dummy, and throw pots,
Okay.
and you critique my throwing,
Okay.
if you want, and then that'll give
Your
people
throwing is
confidence of
hard to
like,
critique. Maybe I can convince Chris to do it.
yeah. There you go. I bet Chris will do it. He'll
Yeah.
probably enjoy it. He'll like the feedback.
It's hard to critique your throwing because I see it every day. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then I'll be talking about pros and cons of selling, and then maybe I'll get some Q&A. I don't know. I kind of hope
Yeah.
each of these are like an hour and a half. It feels like it's a way longer presentation than most of these are. Like most conferences in Sika and stuff, they're like 30 to 45 minutes, and they're like
Yeah.
so like tightly compact that it's like, okay, on to the next presentation. But these are more loosey goosey and got more
Yeah.
time to actually talk at length. So
Yeah.
it'll feel
For sure.
weird filling up an hour and a half, but I think we can get there. I mean, I can talk on here for however long with you, and it doesn't feel like it's that long, but hopefully get some questions and stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yes, looking forward to that. Hopefully meet some of y'all out there. I'll have some stickers. I don't know if you still have stickers. I don't think we'll have any Wheel Talk swag, but stickers will be there. I still want to get a stamp. I want to get a stamp that I can stamp some pots with Wheel Talk on them.
I know.
Maybe I can
Cool.
get my
Okay.
wood stamp connection.
We should go.
All right.
It's been 2 hours.
We're just ad-libbing on here. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you later.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, P.S.
No Charles today.
We had Charles.
I didn't hear Charles.
Yeah, there was Charles.
Oh. Okay.
I just texted Joe, by the way, and when we were talking about that, and you know how Victoria backed out of the conference, I asked him if he wanted me and you to do a podcast episode. We could do a
Oh, the little shared episode presentation?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Can we also ask him if we can, I don't know if you want to record your session, but I feel like recording my session would be good for audio.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll be down for that.
Okay.
But yeah, wouldn't that be fun?
Wheel Talk live at ClayCon West.
Yeah.
Is it like a Q&A thing? Like we could just take questions, or do you want to
that'd be fun.
have a general topic and then take questions along the way, or? So you're saying we're going to fill her spot?
Fuck me. Sorry.
Is it 123 by the way, or 124?
I don't know. I think it's 124.
All right.
Well, I just texted him.
Yeah.
And he hasn't responded yet, but
Oh, I thought it sounded like he confirmed. You just asked him.
No, I just asked. So, yeah.
Okay. Because I mean, you and I could fill an hour and a half in person. Easily. I mean, it'll be more of us, but if people can handle it. I mean, do you want to do more like a round table thing? Like it's us moderating or leading, but maybe there's others that we can get some. I mean, I don't want to do a ton of homework on people, but
yeah, it'd be fun to get like Chris Birch and like maybe if Martha Grover wanted to. Well, I don't know if she's demoing or whatever, but like we could get a few of the presenters. I don't know. But we have to see if he's even willing to do it. But
I mean, he might have a backup person or something, or
yeah, he might. But I figured it would be fun if he needed to fill the space. We could just sit up there and have a chat.
I feel like it would have been sweet to just do like a loosey goosey, shorter presentation where we do something like that. I don't know if there's a gap. There's probably not really gaps. There's a lunch gap, but that's it. I mean, there is a presentation gap for like an hour on some of these days. That's the first day.
Remember, there's a bench outside. I'm thinking about getting a smaller microphone. I think that it would behoove us because every time we always go somewhere, we always have to take this big fucking microphone. It'd be nice to get like a smaller one.
For are you trying to like hook it up to your phone or something to record stuff, or
You know, like still hook it up to the computer, but that way we don't like I don't have to carry it in a huge case. You don't have to carry it in a huge case. And we could just set it up between us, you know?
yeah. I mean, it would be pretty sweet. We technically have an hour break between 3 and 4
You could go
both
out on
days.
those picnic tables and just chat.
Yeah. I wish we could yeah. I would maybe that's an NCCA Cincinnati thing where we have a little more organization of like Wheel Talk does something. Maybe not at the conference, but like we have a get together or something that's
Yeah.
Wheel
Well, we
Talk
should definitely
organized.
do a meet and greet for Wheel Talk. That'd be fucking great.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking dope. Like, just go to a I don't not a bar, but like someplace.
I mean, it would be kind of like Paul Blaze does it for the Potterscast meet and greet get together.
Yeah, like that.
And it would be Wheel Talk get together in our hometown. Or my hometown here, kind of.
Close enough for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I really want to go so I can go to sleep.
All right. Well, the so cup date, I think that's the one going live.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording.